Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Syed Children's Academy English language class of grade 8. It's your lecture 5 and I'm your teacher Miss Sabah. Dear students, do subscribe our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Thank you. Well, our today's topic is present perfect tense. We have already studied present simple and present continuous. Now we will talk about present perfect. Now, what is present perfect tense? The present perfect tense is used to show that an action has taken place once or many times before now. The present perfect is most frequently used to talk about experiences or changes that have taken place, but there are other less common uses as well. Let's read and understand forms and uses of present perfect tense. Present perfect forms. Now, the present perfect tense also has these forms: affirmatives, negatives, and questions. Affirmatives are formed using auxiliary, means helping verbs, has and have. So, the structure of present perfect affirmative is subject plus has, have plus past participle, means verb's third form plus object. Negative structures are made with adding not after has and have. Just see, subject plus has, have plus not plus past participle verb's third form plus object. And the questions are made by putting has, have before subject. See on your screen, has, have plus subject plus past participle verb's third form plus object. You need to learn these structures to make sentences or to use present perfect while speaking. Now the examples. Affirmative. You have seen that movie many times. Here you is the subject and after you have is written and have is your helping verb. And then seen. Seen is past participle, the third form of verb. And then there is object, that movie, many times. Now we have negative. You have not seen that movie many times. Here you is your subject, have is your helping verb, and you have added not after your helping verb. And then seen, verb's third form, and then the object, that movie many times. And now in question. Have you seen that movie many times? Question mark. Here in the question, you have written your helping verb before your subject. And then you have added the question mark at the end. Never forget to add question marks in questions and not in negative statements of any tense. Now let's move towards the uses of present perfect. The first use of present perfect, unspecified time before now. We use the present perfect to say that an action happened at an unspecified time before now. The exact time is not important. As you can see in example number 1, I have seen that movie 20 times. Here the speaker is saying that he has seen that movie, but he is not telling us any specific time, like yesterday or a day before yesterday. And see example number 2. People have not traveled to Mars. This is the negative statement and we are not specifying any kind of time here. In example number 3, which is question, have you read the book yet? Here you are asking, have you read it yet or not? But you are not specifying any time or any day about the reading of the book. Now let's move forward towards the zones of unspecified time before now. Well, we further divided unspecified time before now into different zones. Here, the number first is experience. You can use the present perfect to describe your experience. It is like saying, I have the experience of this or that, or you can also use this tense to say that you have never had a certain experience. But the present perfect is not used to describe a specific event. You cannot specify the events or the times. As you can see here, the example, I have been to France. This sentence means that you have had the experience of being in France. Maybe you have been there once or several times, but there is no specific time, and this event is not specific because of unspecified time. Now, in example number 2, I have been to France 3 times. Here, you can add the number of times at the end of the sentence, but still there is no specific time. In number 3, you are saying I have never been to France. Now you are saying in the sentence that you have not had the experience of going to France, but no specific times. So basically, you can use present perfect tense to share your experience, but no specific times. So the second unspecified time before now, change over time. We often use the present perfect to talk about change that has happened over a period of time. Examples, you have grown since the last time I saw you. Here I'm talking about someone's growth that has gradually changed, but I'm not specifying any time here. That when did I last see that person? Now, in example number 2, the government has become more interested in arts education. Here, the government has become more interested, but I'm not telling the time period, that how and when it happened. In example number 3, my English has really improved since I moved to Australia. Now here I'm not telling when did I move to Australia. So, when you are talking about changes over time, you can use present perfect tense, but you cannot specify any time. Accomplishments. We often use the present perfect to list the accomplishments of individuals and humanity. You cannot mention a specific time here as well. Examples. Man has walked on the moon. Now, here I'm talking about the accomplishment of a man to walk on the moon, but with no specific times, that when did it actually happened. Now, example number 2, our son has learned how to read. Now, it is our son's accomplishment that he has learned how to read, but I'm not specifying any time period here. Number 3, doctors have cured many deadly diseases. Now, I'm talking about the accomplishments of doctors, but I'm not giving any specific times here. Now, the fourth action of unspecified time before now. An uncompleted action you are expecting. We often use the present perfect to say that an action which we expected has not happened. Using the present perfect suggests that we are still waiting for the action to happen. For example, James has not finished his homework yet. Here I am saying that James hasn't finished his homework, but he will. So I am waiting for James to complete or finish his homework. In number 2, Suzanne hasn't mastered Japanese, but she can communicate. Here I am saying that Suzanne hasn't mastered the Japanese language, but still she can communicate in the language, but I am waiting for her to master the language. In example number 3, Bill has still not arrived. Means I am waiting for Bill, but Bill is still not here. So action like these which are incompleted, we can use present perfect to talk about such actions that we are expecting to complete. Fifth unspecified time before now action is multiple actions at different times. Here we also use the present perfect to talk about several different actions which have occurred in the past at different times. Present perfect suggests the process is not complete and more actions are possible. For example, the army has attacked that city 5 times. Means here I am saying the army has already attacked 5 times, but it can attack more. In example number 2, I have had 4 assignments and 5 tests so far this semester. But here I'm saying that I am expecting more. Just like that, in example number 3, we have had many major problems while working on this project. Here I'm saying that we already have many major problems, but we are expecting more problems to come in our way. So whenever you're talking about multiple actions at different times and you are expecting maybe there are more to come, then you use present perfect to talk about such actions. Time expressions with present perfect. Sometimes we want to limit the time we are looking in for an experience. We can do this with expressions of time such as in the last week, in the last year, this week, this month, so far, up to now, etc. With these kind of time expressions, we can limit the time period. For example, have you been to Mexico in the last year? Now, I know that what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, have you been to Mexico in the last year? Means in the last year. That is the time period. I have limit the time period, but I haven't specified any specific day in the last year. So I am not mentioning any specific time, but I have limited the time period. In example number 2, I'm saying she has worked for 3 different companies so far. Here I'm also limiting her time experience of work, but not the exact duration of time. In example number 3, my car has broken down 3 times this week. Means here I'm saying that in this week it has broken 3 times, but when it happened, I'm not specifying that time. Now, do read this notice. Here, it is very important for you to know that there is a very big difference in the meaning of last year and in the last year. Last year means the year before now, and it is considered a specific time which requires simple past. You cannot use last year in present perfect. But in the last year means from 365 days ago until now. It is not considered a specific time. So it requires present perfect. So basically, you cannot use last year in present perfect. You will always use in the last year or in the last week or in the last month. The second most important use of present perfect is duration from the past until now. We use the present perfect to show that something started in the past and has continued up until now. For 5 minutes, for 2 weeks, and since Tuesday are all durations which can be used with present perfect. For example, I have had a cold for 2 weeks. Means my cold had started 2 weeks ago and it is same and continued up until now. Number 2, she has been in England for 6 months. Means she has shifted to England 6 months ago and she is there until now. Now, example number 3. Mary has loved chocolate since she was a little girl. Means Mary's love for chocolates has started when she was a little girl and it is continued to the time up till now. So all these examples are showing that we use present perfect to show the duration of the action from the past until now. Adverb placement. Now, sometimes we use adverbs in present perfect sentences. The examples below show the placement of grammar adverbs such as always, only, never, ever, still, just, etc. These adverbs can be used anytime in present perfect, but where to place them? See in example number 1. You have only seen that movie 1 time. And in example number 2, have you only seen that movie 1 time? Question mark. Now, in both the examples, we placed only before the verb's third form. Now, these examples will make you understand where we put adverb in a sentence. Now, let's move towards some examples of present perfect tense. Now here you have an example chart on your screen. Here affirmative, which is also called positive, and the negative statements and questions. In this chart, I have made the same sentence with different pronouns to make sure that you understand when you will use have and when you will use has. Do read this chart and all the examples and the instructions above, where it is written has will only be used with he, she, it or third person singular nouns as subject, and have with I, you, we, they and plural nouns as subject. Now let's move towards your home task. This home task will be done in your register. Exercise 1. In this exercise, what you will do is you will use the verbs given in the brackets and you will use helping verb with them and fill these blanks that are given in all these 10 sentences to make these sentences present perfect. Here, the other sentences of the same exercise are given. You will use the same formula to make these sentences present perfect. Do all these 1 to 25 sentences in your register. Now students, watch this video couple of times to understand present perfect tense. Keep watching, keep learning with SSCA official YouTube channel, and to do that, click the bell icon to get notified about the new lectures. I'll see you in the next lecture. Till then, take care and Allah Hafiz.